Today, we're going to be talking about, in the middle of our series on mercy. Now let me say this, mercy is my favorite characteristic of God, because you talk about mercies being new every morning. I tell you what, I have created so many situations in my life where I have had to have the mercy of God, and I repented and He's come through and He's lifted me up. I am so familiar with mercy, no wonder it is very, very popular with me. I don't try to take advantage of it. You never want to take advantage of God by, like, for instance, doing something you're not supposed to and then saying, well, God's a God of mercy. He'll get me out of this jam if I get myself into a jam. You know, it's not like that. God's mercy is for those who are wanting His mercy and are willing to ask for it. At the end of Christ, near the end of Christ's ministry here on the earth, you have two men that in their actions they displeased Jesus. Number one was Judas. Judas flat out betrayed the Lord. Now, he could have probably made a comeback, but he ended his life. He probably could have made a comeback and asked for God's mercy and received it. But he chose to not act in the correct way, and as a result, he had disaster in his life. But Peter was a man who was acquainted with the mercy of God. Now, his sin is the sin of denial. And we're going to read about that today. So today, we're going to talk about God's mercy when I fall flat on my face. Now, I don't know about you, but again, there have been many times in my life where, symbolically speaking, I have goofed up or I have made a mess of things, and it's almost like I have fallen right on my face. And when we do that, we hurt ourselves, we hurt our relationship with God, and we hurt our relationship with others. The thing about it is, how can we make a comeback from those situations where we make a fool of ourselves, or we fall flat on our face? It's because of the mercy of God that we can come back and start following Jesus Christ faithfully again and handle life successfully. Now, the first thing we want to talk about today is, when did Peter fall flat on his face? Or how did he? So we're going to go to Matthew 26. In Matthew 26, earlier in the chapter, Jesus prophesies that Peter is going to deny him. And Peter says, well, you know, I don't think that is so. One thing I like about Peter, he loved Jesus Christ. I mean, the man loved Jesus Christ. He wanted to be near Jesus. He wanted to protect Jesus. He wanted to argue with Jesus. But the foundation of all of that was that he loved Jesus Christ. There were times that he messed up, more than just this time. But yet, he was there. He cut off the serpent's ear that was going to come and take Jesus. Jesus restored the ear and he said, put your sword away. That's not the way. And so Peter was a man of mistakes, but he was a man who loved Jesus. And for the person who loves Jesus, if you fall flat on your face, there is a way back to faithfully following Jesus Christ, the Son of the living God. And it's because that he's willing to extend mercy to those who ask for it and those that want it. Now, it's been prophesied, you will deny me. He says, yeah, right. You know, I can get carried away with Peter, because sometimes I align with him. You know, I want to argue with the Lord a little bit. But anyway, so as we look at verse 69, let's start there. Now, Jesus has been taken. Meanwhile, Peter was sitting outside in the courtyard. A servant girl came over and said to him, you were one of those with Jesus, the Galilean. Peter, notice this, here is the sin. Here is the falling flat on your face. But Peter denied it in front of everyone. You got that? Peter denied it in front of everyone. And so he says, I don't know what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about, he said. Later, out by the gate, another servant girl noticed him and said to those standing around, this man was with Jesus of Nazareth. Again, Peter denied it. This time with an oath. You know, it's like he believed that probably, you know, the followers of Christ weren't supposed to curse, you know, so he was going to color it up a little bit and add to the evidence that he thought would provoke them into thinking he's really not a follower of the Galilean, of Jesus of Nazareth. You know, there's certain codes of conduct that people scheme up and dream up for Christians, you know. And if you don't talk right, and if you don't do right, then people don't think you're a Christian. So he's probably thinking, well, if I had a little swearing in there, they won't think I'm a follower of Jesus. And so it says, I don't even know the man. Now, I can't get into this. I mean, I can see myself in problems, but yet at the same time, to walk with Jesus, to see Jesus, you know, ultimately he will see Jesus in his resurrected form. But to be even in the company of Jesus and to say to people, I don't even know the man. I mean, he's desperate here. And then it said a little later, some of the other bystanders came over to Peter and said, you must be one of them. We can tell by your Galilean accent. Now, if you want to deny that you're from a certain part of the country, of the U.S., for instance, get rid of your accent. Now, I don't know about you, but I've never been able to get rid of my accent. And if I step into a group of people out here, they automatically know at least near the region I'm from. Of course, you know, being in favor of the #1 football team in America, even though they got beat in the last minute by Clemson, you know, I'm an Alabama boy. And even if you're from Texas, you've got a certain accent, you know. And the only thing about Texans is they are wannabe Southerners, you know. I've always told people that. You know, they're just, I don't even count Louisiana as a part of the South. You've got to be on that side of the Mississippi, you know. But anyway, accent will give you away. I can spot, when I was in Tucson at one church for 18 years, I had a lot of people who were winter guests, and they were from New York, New Jersey, Boston. You know, I mean, I could tell, I could recognize that accent. So Galilee had a certain accent. Those who lived there, they just got it. And so we can tell by your accent. Peter swore. Notice, he's swearing again. A curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know this man. Let me say this. Don't ever do that with God, because he'll make you eat your words. I have told you of 1 or 2 times in my life where I said, quit picking on this person, give it to me, because you picked on this person long enough. I mean, my daughter years ago was in dire, she had a big wreck and things like this and all that. And man, I'm going to tell you something. You don't mess with God like that, because I wound up in the hospital myself the next week. You don't say this, a curse on me if I'm lying. I don't know the man. And immediately the rooster crowed. Then look, suddenly Jesus' words, you remember I said he had prophesied earlier that he would deny Christ? Jesus' words flashed through Peter's mind. Before the rooster crows, you will deny 3 times that you even know me. And he went away weeping bitterly. Okay? Now, what I see here, 3 things that caused him to fall on his face. A lot of times we try to handle situations in life like Peter. You see, he said, I can handle life all by myself. Earlier, he said to Jesus, I will never deny you. I will never deny you. And a lot of times we stay enslaved within a situation because, you see, Peter worried more about what people thought than what God thought. And he said, it said, Peter followed at a distance. He wasn't there by Jesus' side. He wasn't even in the vicinity. He followed away from Jesus. And let me say this, it's when you walk away from Jesus and you don't have that daily fellowship and you're not in position to receive his mercy, when you're trying to handle life by yourself, that's when you're going to fall flat on your face. You see, the pervading opinion in society today is I don't need God. I don't need to have a relationship with God. Literally, people basically are saying, I am my own God. I am in charge. I am the king or queen of my life. And I have the ability to handle anything that life brings me. And so it says here, and you need to ask yourself this question. Do you worry more about what God thinks or what other people think of you? You see, when you get in the habit of recognizing that in life you are here to please God and follow God, you will come to the point where people's thoughts don't really bug you as much. But Peter was worried. Proverbs 29:25 says, fearing people is a dangerous trap, but trusting the Lord means safety. And the other thing about this is that he feared being identified with Jesus. And it's when you are identified with Jesus and you're not afraid of being identified with Jesus and you boldly take a stand for Jesus. Now that doesn't mean that you have to go out here and on the corner raise this big placard that you have made saying, hey, John 3:16 or something like that. But it's daily inside of your life, you know that you're trusting God. You trust Jesus. You love Jesus. And if somebody asks you, are you a Christian? You are willing to say, yes, I am a follower of Jesus Christ. And that is the essence of Christianity. But when we get away from that, we can get in trouble. And Peter denied Christ and fell on his face. Now, the problem was, can he be restored? And the answer is yes. You can be restored when you fall flat on your face. When I have fallen flat on my face, I have gotten to the point of wondering, Lord, how can you even love me because of the mess that I have made? How can you even care about me anymore? But the scriptures keep coming through. I will love you no matter what. If you walk away from me, I will be after you. I will be tapping you on the shoulder. I might even trip you up to get your attention, to get your eyes back on me. And the Lord will do that. And so we see here that he fell flat on his face and he was weeping bitterly. Now, let's talk about what Peter did when he fell flat on his face. The first thing is that he was sorrowful. If you'll notice in verse 75, it says, he wept bitterly. He came to the point he realized what he had done was wrong. He realized that he fell flat on his face in denying Jesus Christ. And When you get in rough situations and you realize that you have done wrong, the best thing is to grieve over it and to be sorrowful about it and to realize that you've done wrong. That's the first step in getting right with God. You have to go down before you go up. The Bible talks about humbling yourself. It talks about coming before the Lord, humbling your spirit to Him, saying, you are my master. I have asked you to come into my life. You have given to me this great salvation. And now I want you to realize that I have not served you well. And I am so sorry about this. A lot of times people stuff their emotions. But you don't stuff your emotions. Let it out to God. When you realize that you have fallen flat on your face and that you have not done well in following Jesus, let your emotions go. And let me say this, it may take a period of time. Sometimes when you realize that you have done wrong in your relationship with God, yes, you come to Jesus, and yes, He will forgive you, and His mercy comes through. But still there is this grief in your heart. The grief in your heart. I have had recently, in the last 4 or 5 years, some death in my family. When my father died, even though the Saturday morning I received the news that he had passed away, I still let out a big cry, and I went to my Alabama man cave room and closed the door, and I told my wife I'll be out when I get through with all of this. That was about 4:30 in the morning. About 11 o'clock in the morning I came out. But I'd lost my father. He wasn't just my father. He was my best friend. And we had days, even though he lived in Texas, and we talked almost every day, and we watched Alabama games together through FaceTime, and we'd give commentary, on the game. There was still this hurting within my heart. And there was an emptiness there. And I asked God to help me, and He did. But still, I grieved for a long period of time. I still grieve in the sense that I miss my father. But I know he's in a better place, and that's the joy and the beauty of Christianity, that one day when we close our eyes here, we will be there, and we'll see those who have gone on before, and we'll be reunited with them. Amen? And that is just the way it is. But let it go. Be sorrowful for what you have done in your relationship with God. And the greater the failure in life, the greater the impact of that which hits you, it's going to take some time. You have to let God work in your heart. But God, now watch this. When you confess to God that you have fallen on your face and that you need Him, that is the very point that He begins to work. Got that? That is the point that He begins to work. And then, after you are sorrowful, Peter was sorrowful. And so then the second thing he did is he cast himself on God's mercy. Now, in 1 Peter 1, verse 3, he talks about mercy. But in 1 Peter 5, verse 6, I don't have the verse there for you, but I'll read it to you. He says this, "So humble yourselves under the mighty power of God, and at the right time He will lift you up in honor." Well, when you have confessed and when you have humbled yourself, notice what it says. He will lift you up in honor. So give all your worries and cares to God, for He cares about you. That's what mercy is. You come to Him and you express to Him your grief over falling flat on your face, and he starts to work in your life. He starts to work to lift you up. And Peter knew the mercy of God, because now in 1 Peter 1 verse 3 he says, all praise to God, the Father of our Lord Jesus Christ. Notice, it is by his great mercy, you see that? His great mercy that we have been born again. And because God raised Jesus Christ from the dead, now we live with great expectation. So don't let anyone or anything ever convince you that you're not worthy of God and that he will not have anything else to do with you, because that is where the mercy comes in. God gives to you that which you don't really deserve, because he loves you with an everlasting love, and he will never let you go. Amen? He will not let go. And so, with this in mind, we need to cast our cares. In this case, the word cast talks about taking a heavy load, almost like a boulder you can't hardly pick up. Everything's so heavy on you, and you just go, there, God, you know, take it, please. And God is right there to put his almighty hand right under that burden and take care of you. When you cast your care, by the way, on him, you lose your despair. You dig it? Here, watch this. In your confession and your being sorrowful, repenting before God, when you take that next step to cast your care on him, then he lifts you up. He reaches down and he's good to you. And that's when you lose your despair, because you see, when you let go, that's when God gets into action. And he begins to work in your life. And he begins to give you another firm foundation and build you up to that point where you can walk forward in faith with full confidence that God loves you. And it's all because of God's mercy. Well, what does it mean to cast yourself on the mercy of God? It means to pray or to say something like this to God. God, there's no way I deserve your forgiveness. I really blew it. There is no way that I deserve your mercy. I have thumbed my nose. Can you see Peter saying this? Lord, I thumbed my nose at you. I've ignored you. I've made dumb mistakes here. There's no way I deserve your grace, your mercy, your love, your kindness. But I realize that you are a merciful God. You're a loving God. And I ask that you show me mercy. So I'm throwing myself on your mercy. I need a fresh start. I don't deserve it. I can't earn it. I can't do anything to get your forgiveness. It's got to come from you. So here I am. I'm ready to go again. And God comes through. Well, let's look at one last thing. What does Jesus do when I fall on my face? How does he show his mercy? Well, the first thing I want you to know is he's never blown away when you fall flat on your face. I remember one time one man made a mess of things, and he said, well, it would be a miracle if God ever forgave me because of the mess I got myself in. But he didn't realize the nature of God, because you see, God doesn't get blown away when you fall flat on your face, because you see, he made you, he knows you. I mean, he knows every nth of your very being, from the bottom and deep in the depths of your life to the tips of your hair. And I mean, he knows you. He put you together. He designed you. He's the great architect. He laid the plan, and then he did the building, and right now you're still alive. He's doing the constructing. And that's God Almighty. And you don't blow God away. You don't surprise God. You see, Psalm 103:14 says, for he knows how weak we are. He remembers that we are only dust. You see, God knows you. God knows me. There's nothing you tell God that surprises him. Oh, let me share the news with you, Lord. I mean, he wants to hear you talk to him, but he already knows what's going on. He's omniscient. He's omnipresent. He's everywhere. He watches you. By the way, I wonder if we really believe in the omnipresence and the omniscience of God. Because you see, for instance, in my relationship with my wife, okay, we're going to be at 48 years this year. It's been a great journey, and I'm hoping we have another 48 years, you know. Hey, you know, I know what you're saying. You like dreaming, you know. But the thing about it is, no matter how long that journey is, I want it to be as sweet as it's been. But there's one thing about being married to Jane. When she's gone and she's not present, you kind of take it a little easier. You know what I mean? It's like, would you do this, this, and this, and this for me? And, okay, I will. But when she leaves, it's like, she'll be back. You know, I'm going to relax. You know, I'll watch my game, or I'll do something. And just before she gets back, you know, well, you know, that's kind of my attitude. Well, you know, that's the way we are with God. You know, I don't know how we can have that attitude, but, you know, I'm not in church. I'm not gathered with other Christians. Nobody's eyes are upon. Oh, yes, there is. The eyes of God are upon you. He's watching you. Now, back to the relationship with my wife. There have been some days that she has asked me to do some things that I'm doing my own thing, and then she shows up early. And when she finds that in showing up early, she finds I haven't done what she asked me to do, things get a little squirrely. Okay? Excuse me. Why did you do this? She just has that thing, you know, she has a soft voice, but she's got the eye. She cocks that eyebrow up. She's, oh, okay. Yeah, I see. Well, you know, God's that same way. And then she says something like this. I knew you couldn't do it. You know, then she, you know, that kind of stirs me to action, you know. But God's eyes are upon us, and we don't surprise him. Okay? Number two, he prays for us. Okay? He prays for us. One of his ministries in heaven is that he prays for us. Hebrews 4, verses 14 through 16 says that we have a high priest who has passed into the heavens. He's at the right hand of the throne of the Father, ever making intercession for us. He is a high priest who was tempted in all points like as we are, yet without sin. He knows what we went through. The only thing is, a lot of times we've given in, but he, as perfect God, perfect man, never did. And he knows us, and he knows what we're going through, and he intercedes for us. And in Hebrews 7, therefore he is able, once and forever, to save those who come to God through him. Notice this, he lives forever to intercede with God on their behalf. He's praying for you. He's praying for the Father to give to you what you need in order to stand strong and to walk with him in life. And then the last thing is this. He believes us. This is the mercy of God, folks. He's not blown away. He's still there for us. He doesn't say, I knew you were going to blow it, so I'm walking away. He doesn't walk away. He prays for us. And then the last thing is, he believes in us. Now notice in Luke 22:32, this is another rendition, another slant on the story from Luke's viewpoint. And he says, but I have pleaded in prayer for you, Simon, that your faith should not fail. Okay? I've been praying for you. So when you have repented and turned to me again, you see that? When you have repented and turned to me again, strengthen your brothers. Strengthen your brothers. And, you know, the thing is this. Proverbs 24:16 says, the godly may trip 7 times, but they will get up again. Now notice it says the righteous. That's talking about faithful followers of God. Faithful followers of Jesus Christ. You hear this? You'll get up again with God's help. Why? Because God's mercy is always new to us. It's always extended to us when we call upon Him. He is always with us, faithfully believing until the very end that He takes us home to be with Him. Yesterday, as you know, I teach, next year is going to be 11th grade, 12th grade English at Queen Creek High School. Queen Creek has had a great baseball team this year. We won the Santan Conference. We beat Campo Verde over here twice. I mean, we stomped them and romped over them. I mean, we only lost like 4 or 5 games. We were number 6 in the state in Division 5A. I had not been able, I had several ball players in my junior English classes, and man, they've been wanting me to come to the games, but I just haven't been able to get to the games. Yesterday, I told them I'll come to the playoff game at Queen Creek High School. So I went. I went to the stands. Now, they didn't have a fan rooting for them like me. Because when I got in the stands, it was, "Hey, Mr. Casanelli, get a hit. Let's go. Hey, Mr. Casanelli, strike them out. Hey, let's go. You can do it. You can do it." And I was just like that, but it was all positive. And let me tell you something. I was with them. We were up and back. We were down 4-0. We tied them at 4-4. Then we were behind 7-4. Then we tied them at 7. And then all of a sudden they went out another 4 points. And some things happened. Our star player got thrown out by the umpire. Boy, God did a restraint on my lips, boy, because I've got umpiritis, man. And when they make the wrong call against my team, I was about ready to go into negative action. But I didn't. But I was saying, "Come on, let's go, let's go." Down to the very last batter in the bottom of the 7th inning when he grounded out. They heard me saying, "Come on, we can do it, we can do it." And that's what God does with us. That's what Jesus does for you. He's saying to you, "Get up. I'll help you get up. You can walk again faithfully. I will be with you. And if you fall down again, I'll be there. I'll lift you up. And I will be with you all the way to the very end until you take that final step and you take that final breath and you leave this life and come to me. I am with you because I believe in you." See how it is with Jesus? That's how Jesus loves us. And He is good to you. He's a good, good Father. And He loves you. And His mercy is extended to you if you need it. If you're at the place where you feel like you've fallen on your face and you made a mess of things, you need forgiveness, He will give it to you. And He will empower you to follow Him faithfully if you come to Him. Let's pray.